Hi, I'm Ron Whitten, the Architecture Editor Emeritus of Golf Digest magazine, digging deep into the profile of an individual golf hole. Today, the 10th hole at Riviera Country Club, Pacific Palisades, California, one of the greatest short par fours in the world of golf. Riviera Country Club is a treasure. Golf Digest ranks it among the 18 greatest golf courses in America. Architects study it because it has so many quality golf holes. There's so many holes to choose from, but my favorite has always been the 10th hole, a short par 4 of 314 yards. What I like about it is it offers width. It's rare that an architect gets a chance to have a wide golf hole. With width comes options. If you look at the 10th hole from overhead, you can see all sorts of options. From the back tee, you can place something less than a driver across the cross bunkers that are 175 yards off the tee into this little thumb of fairway, leaving you about 100 yards in, a perfect distance in which to spin a wedge and stop it close to the hole. Or you can aim right at the left-hand bunker, which is 254 yards off the tee, stop your drive somewhere short of it, and that gives you the best angle into the long axis of the green. If you're talented enough to hit a high fade with your driver, you can hit it right in the green to hold it. The problem with that is the green is long and narrow, barely 12 yards wide at a certain point, and everything on the green flows from front left to back right, which makes it very hard to hit and hold the green, even with a wedge, let alone a driver. So a lot of things may roll over into a bunker behind the green or fall short into a bunker in front of it. Riviera was designed by George C. Thomas Jr. and his associate, Billy Bell. Thomas was a great architect and a great author. Wrote one of the best books ever written on golf design, Golf Course Architecture in America, published in 1927, the same year that Riviera appeared. This map of the hole appeared in the book, and the configuration of the hole has not changed since the beginning. Back then he had just one tee, and you could play it over the cross bunker or out to the left. The course is only a mile from the ocean, so you have a lot of prevailing ocean winds, so he gave you plenty of margin for error up the left side. Thomas also added a bunker short right on a direct line to the green. Here's what the hole looked like in the beginning. You'll notice the big crescent cross bunker and that bunker short right of the green. Here's the green. And what you notice is the absence of any bunkers around it. His original design had no greenside bunkers. In his book, he explained that he did so in concern for pace of play. Yet by the time the course hosted the 1929 Los Angeles Open, the first PGA event it ever held, there were bunkers on either side of the green, as well as that target bunker off to the left. These were added in preparation for that tournament by Thomas and Bell. So the risks in playing the hole included the bunker that back in the hickory shaft days required a good punch to carry, as well as the bunkers close to the green, and the surrounding rough, which was of kikuyu grass, which has the consistency of steel wool. So it begs the question, was this golf's first drivable par 4? I don't think so. Thomas in his book described it as a drive and pitch par 4. It wasn't Thomas's intention at that time that anybody would drive the green. So when did the concept of a reachable par 4 enter the realm of golf course architecture? Well, at the 1937 Masters, Byron Nelson hit his drive on the 7th hole, a 340-yard par 4 in that time, and bounced all the way onto the green. The next year when Masters competitors showed up, the 7th green had been moved back 40 yards and up a hill and fronted with bunkers. Nobody was going to drive that green anymore. In 1946, Sam Snead won the Open at the Old Course in St. Andrews, and in the process drove 3 greens repeatedly. The reason he drove those greens was that the fairways at St. Andrews were unirrigated, and they were hard and fast, and balls would roll for 60 or 80 yards. 2 years later, Riviera hosted its only U.S. Open. Ben Hogan won the 1948 Open, his first of 4, but he was never the kind of golfer that took a chance. He always played for position, and the drive and pitch strategy that Thomas had instilled in the 10th hole played right up Hogan's alley. Despite the suggestion in the program, I found no evidence from any newspaper report that anybody attempted to reach the 10th green at Riviera during that Open. It wasn't until 1984 that somebody deliberately designed a par 4 meant to be reached from the tee. This was Jay Morrish and Tom Weiskopf, and it was Weiskopf's idea to do so. He got the idea from playing in the British Open at St. Andrews in 1970, and he remembers thinking, this is just like going for a par 5 and 2. I wonder why nobody's trying to design a par 4 that way. At one point in his design career, Weiskopf codified his rules for what he thought made a good drivable par 4. First, he said it had to be somewhere between 285 and 315 yards. He wanted the hole to play as consecutive par 3s, so that if a golfer was going to lay up off the tee, it was just as difficult, if not harder, than going for the green. One side of the hole, he said, should be inviting, but actually offer a false sense of security, because once you hit there, you realized it was a much more difficult second shot. He thought the green on such a par 4 should be big, but should be a demanding 2-putt. He wanted the surrounds of the green to put a premium on the short game, either through bunkers or lots of humps and hollows. Finally, he thought the hole should not automatically be driven in every round. A golfer should occasionally be able to reach the green, he said, with the emphasis on occasional. So when you look at the 10th hole at Riviera, darn if it doesn't look like something Tom Weiskopf would have designed. You can certainly play it like 2 par 3s. One side seems very inviting, but actually offers a false sense of security. The surrounds certainly put a premium on the short game, and the green is definitely a demanding 2-putt. There's a golf pro named Lou Stegner who plays around with golf stats. In fact, he calls himself Golf Stat Pro on Twitter. In the spring of 2023, Lou posted shot dispersion charts on our hole, the 10th at Riviera, for over the last 20 years. Here's how the hole played in one round of the PGA Tour event in 2005. You'll notice about half the field laid up. One poor fellow couldn't even get it across the crescent-shaped cross bunker. Several hit that target fairway bunker on the left. Several more ended up under the trees left of the green. A lot of golfers ended up in the front right bunker. A lot more ended up behind the green. One even reached the 11th tee. I counted 13 balls that actually reached and stayed on the green, most of them in the front. Look at the difference in 2022. The shot dispersion is all around the green, almost nothing in the fairway. Several ended up in that left-hand bunker, several more in the right-hand bunker, several in the bunkers around the green. Many blew it left under the trees, apparently trying to get the best angle into the green, and many more ended up on the 11th tee. In the 2019 event, ShotLink reported that 80% of the field went for the 10th green from the tee, and were a combined 63 under par. The 20% that laid up were a combined 18 over par. So that tells you all you need to know. Pro golfers today play by the percentages. Would you rather be in this bunker just short of the green in 1 or 2? George Thomas didn't design the 10th hole at Riviera to be drivable, but technology certainly has made it drivable. There's one last little wrinkle that you may or may not have noticed on these aerial views, and that's this little green. Next to the 10th green, it's actually an alternate green for the 10th hole. Curiously enough, in 2005, one golfer actually reached the green from the tee. That green has been there since 1993. It was built because the course was hosting 60,000 rounds a year, and the poor 10th green was getting beat to death. Golf architect Ron Force, a course restoration expert, was offered the job, and at first he wanted to turn it down because he didn't want to mess with Thomas's design. But the club convinced him he could build an alternate green and it not be intrusive. So what he did was tuck it behind that far right bunker. From the tee, you can't see the green, you can only see the flag. He tilted it in the same direction, front to back, as the regular green, and when you play the hole, just like for the regular green, the best angle of approach is from the far left side of the fairway. The PGA Tour will never use this green in its tournament, but the club regularly uses it about 3 days a week. This is a perfect example of how a golf hole evolves. It started as a drive and pitch par 4, it's now a reachable par 4. The question is, as an architect, should you do something to combat the fact that everybody's trying to drive the green these days? I just posed the question. Would it be a better hole if you replace these bunkers with thick kikuyu grass? It would certainly be a harder up and down for good tour pros. Now, purists will tell me you don't mess with George C. Thomas Jr., but go back to his original design. He didn't have any bunkers around the green, remember?